You know, they were talking about climate change yesterday, and now we're learning that scientists and researchers are looking at how to change the weather on purpose. That's right. Lasers now could one day manipulate rain and lightning. CBS This Morning contributor Michio Kaku is a physics professor at City College of New York. Professor, nice to see you. Extraordinary seeing Al Gore and Bill Clinton there together with Charlie, wasn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, they did not get into this discussion, though. But it is fascinating. I mean, lasers, really? To change the weather?
That's right. Well, as Mark Twain once famously said, everyone complains about the weather, but no one ever does anything about it. Well, instead of doing a rain dance, we physicists are firing trillion-watt lasers into the sky to actually precipitate rain clouds and actually bring down lightning bolts. This is potentially a game changer.
But this is experimental.
It's experimental. However, in the laboratory so far, it works. When you have water vapor and you have dust particles or ice crystals, you can precipitate rain. It condenses around the seeds. These seeds can also be created by laser beams. By firing trillion-watt lasers, you rip apart the electrons, creating what are called ions, and these ions act like seeds, like dust particles, bringing down rain and even lightning. Go ahead.
Well, this fascinates me in part because, too, I remember reading the stories that China had used this during the Olympics, that the USSR had used this after Chernobyl to create rain clouds. I mean, did those really work then? We have some of these capabilities now?
Inconclusive. Even in the 60s, the CIA used this to bring down monsoons. Governments have been playing with this thing.
Alleged to.
Alleged to, right.
Yeah.
Now, we realize that for decades now, these governments have been alleged to have experimented with weather control, but nothing conclusive. This time we're bringing in the laws of physics rather than simply waving our hands and uttering mumbo-jumbo. We're actually using trillion-watt lasers now. And in the laboratory, sure enough, they precipitate rain out of water vapor. Sure enough, you can actually bring down electricity down the beam.
Another example is the array of technologies, often referred to collectively as geoengineering, that potentially could help reverse the warming effects of global climate change. One that has gained my personal attention. An SAI program could limit global temperature increases, reducing some risks associated with higher temperatures and providing the world economy additional time to transition from fossil fuels. This process is also relatively inexpensive. The National Research Council estimates that a fully deployed SAI program would cost about $10 billion yearly. As promising as it may be, moving forward on SAI would also raise a number of challenges for our government and for the international community. On the technical side, greenhouse gas emission reductions would still have to accompany SAI to address other climate change effects, such as ocean acidification, because SAI alone would not remove greenhouse gases from the atmosphere. On the geopolitical side, the technology's potential to alter weather patterns and benefit certain regions.
I'm going to have to stay off of social media because I just keep getting more and more angry every single second because more and more news is coming out about what is going on in the mountains, and it is getting worse and worse. I am about an hour away. We are so close, but yet feel so far. Everybody here is feeling helpless of what they can do to help. All the donations we are getting is not enough. But yet our government is saying, go ahead, keep going, community. Go ahead. Y'all are doing great. Go ahead. Now, you know what is asked of the community to get? Body bags. Freaking body bags. And now to find out that the government is coming in and actually just seizing the land and saying, no, this land doesn't belong to you anymore. We're going to bulldoze it all. We're going to take over it. All of your family members' bodies are just going to be washed away with everything else that we're going to get rid of with the bulldozer. Like, where is the humanity in all this? It takes a special kind of evil to be doing what they are doing in the mountains right now. They are hiding so much information from everybody that it is insane. The only way that we are getting it and actually know it's facts, because it's from friends of ours that are actually up there personally trying to help. The ones that aren't getting kicked out, though, because now that the National Guard is in there with their big old planes, they're saying that everybody with the smaller helicopters can get out. How are you with your big ass helicopters or airplanes going to get into these more rural areas? Why are you kicking out the people in ATVs that are going up mountains that you can't even get to? Why are you kicking out the people that have mules hauling in supplies to areas that the government cannot get to, but yet is telling the community to stand down? There's something very shady going on, and everybody needs to be made aware of it, and the message needs to be passed on so we can put a stop to this. If we can, not come back. And it's even more maddening that the news is spreading lies, saying that we've only had a couple hundred deaths is absurd. The morgues are filled up. There are trailers bigger than people have ever seen before outside these morgues that are now filled up with bodies. There are bodies getting pulled out of trees. There are bodies getting found under trees. There's bodies everywhere. And you're saying, oh, it's just a couple hundred. No, it's not. Everybody is getting lied to. It is like a war zone over there. It's not something that is going to be fixed in a couple of hours. They are projecting that the power will not be back on till the end of January. There are people on those mountaintops that don't even have service or know how bad it is around them because they are so cut off from the world. There are people still stranded, all their neighbors' houses, their own house is gone. They're stuck on the top or side of a mountain because landslides happen all around them. It is so bad around here, I can't even say everything because there's just so much. Please spread the word.
I got my son to the highest point of the house that I could, but once the house detached, we ran into power lines. And we ran into trees, which knocked us off into the water. That's when I went under, and I lost sight of my mom and my son. I could hear them screaming. My dad was trying to fight for his life on the water. He is, 73 years old, as my mother was. My son was 7. He didn't know how to swim, so my dad had to grabbed onto a branch or something and was holding on. But the last thing that I heard from my son was he was screaming for Jesus, and he was saying, Jesus, please save me. That's the last words I heard out of my son's mouth. And that was when we separated. We all got knocked into the water into different ways. I didn't see them again. And I continued to float down, up and down through the water until I got trapped in a tree. I continued to look for them, but I heard nothing. I saw my mom screaming for my son at one point, and again, the last I heard from them was screams and screaming.
Trigger warning. Anybody that's sensitive and can't handle hearing about this, go ahead and scroll. For those that are like me, that cannot allow this bullshit to continue, listen up. We've already seen the videos. We've already heard the eyewitness accounts. People stating, trigger warning, piles of unalived individuals being found in riverbanks, on the lakes, in the streets, in their cars, and nobody seems to want to come to retrieve them. The fact that we can even allow that to happen, like the absolute utter disrespect for these people were grandmothers and grandfathers and children and aunts and uncles. Like, since when do we not respect our dead? But then it gets worse. As you listen to these videos, as you watch these videos, you see the devastation. Whole roads are completely wiped out. And I understand that people are not familiar with mountain areas. They think, oh, it's one road, you go around. Yeah, that's not how it works. Most mountain regions maybe have 1, maybe 2 roads that go in and out. And when those roads are wiped out, those people are completely abandoned up there. FEMA set up camp in an accessible area and has told multiple people that they will not bring aid to people in inaccessible areas, which makes you wonder why the fuck they're even there. But that's okay. We have volunteers, right? Volunteers that'll go out, private individuals that are going to go out and help these people. Yeah, they're being threatened with arrest. People brought their privately owned helicopters to try to offer aid to get these people off the mountains, or at least bring them supplies so they don't starve to death or die from dehydration, because it has now been 6 full days of no water access for these people, and they're being threatened with arrest. Trucks have come to the region with supplies. Their tires are being slashed. Something very sinister and evil is happening here. Then you throw into the mix that there's an entire source of lithium under these mountains, and all of a sudden things start stacking right in place, don't they? I just saw this post on X, and again, I try not to say that it's true, so that's for you, TikTok. I'm not trying to spread any misinformation. This is for educational purposes. However, they were specifically speaking about the government held a meeting in Chimney Rock and basically informed these people that the entire town will be bulldozed over, bodies and all. And that now the federal government owns that land. This is a fucking land grab. They do not care about these people that are stuck in the mountains. They do not care about these people that were unalived by this. And forgive me for sounding absolutely insane, but we all know that they've been able to manipulate weather for quite a long time. This technology has existed for a long time. So how am I supposed to believe that this is all coincidence? And how is it that I'm supposed to believe that this kind of lack of support is an accident? I'm absolutely enraged. And I am not going to stop talking about this until there is some kind of resolution for these people. I am but one person. I don't have the resources to help. I don't have the time to go down there. I don't have the funds to donate. But the one thing I can do is use my fucking voice. And I'm not going to shut up about this. These people do not deserve this. And for any of you idiots that think that they do, just know that you're next. We allowed this to happen in Maui. And now we're allowing it to happen again in the Appalachians. How long until it's your neighborhood or your town or your family being left to rot in the streets? We need to fucking stop this. Please share, and if you're going to donate, only donate to churches. Apparently FEMA can't take the donations from the churches. So find local churches in the area, donate directly to them, or if you know somebody in the area, donate directly to them, because FEMA is not helping at all. Not to mention that they're stating they're apparently out of money, but we could send billions of dollars to the Ukraine. I'm so fucking sick and tired of this, and I don't know what it's going to take for my fellow American to get to that point either. This is absolutely fucking deplorable, and it needs to stop. God bless the people of the Appalachians. My heart, my soul is with you. I pray that God puts his hands on you and delivers you to safety, because you truly are surrounded by evil right now. And people like me will not stop talking about it. I don't give a fuck what TikTok